Hi, Paul. That was one of the stranger things I've seen in the Octagon.
It's horrible. 14 weeks, cancelled 4 weeks ago, moved now. The best shape I've ever been in. Moving back up to light heavyweight, I was wanting to make a stamp in that division again and be like, hey, I'm back, I'm fully healthy, not making massive cuts. Got to take positives from it. I felt good in there. I was moving well, landing my shots. Shot selection was perfect. But in the heat of the moment, I thought he was standing up, so I throw my axe kick, looking to land a heavy up kick to his face. That was my intention, and that's why it's went down as a no contest, because it's perpetual motion, isn't it? Like, when you're going to do something, when he's going to do something, sometimes you maybe punch the back of the head. It's pretty much the same for me, if you think about it that way. If the opponent moves and you happen to connect with the back of his head and it's a massive shot and it maybe changes the outcome of a fight, that's what that was like for me.
Yeah, I'm assuming you feel shit either way, but is it a bit better that it's a no contest rather than a DQ?
I guess so. There's always positives to look on that. A loss is much worse than just a no contest, because I'm coming off a few losses. I was looking to get back in that win column. I'm still not there. It's the nature of this sport.
What did you make of the way he went down, right? Like, I'm being candid about it. We just watched the replay.
Yep.
He was awake on the way down,
Yep.
and then when he hit the canvas, he was apparently incredibly knocked out. It's not a reaction I would have expected from a blow that I thought landed more on the neck than the chin.
Yep.
Curious your take on that reaction.
Yeah, you know, a few people have messaged me regarding this, and they're saying that it looked a bit floppish, like he was maybe hamming it up. Maybe, like, I don't want to think any fighter is looking for an easy way out in this sport. We're all fighters, we're all in the UFC, the pinnacle of our careers, and we're looking to put on performances. But I can see where people are looking at it and think it looks a bit floppish, like he's maybe taking a dive. I don't want to think that, but I'll need to watch it back. It's raw at the moment.
Feel you. Did you speak with him afterwards? All respect, I'm sure, but did you speak to him? Did you get a gaze on how he was feeling at that particular moment as well?
Yeah, you know, I was in the neutral corner. I was looking over and I was seeing him kind of like flopping, and like he was trying to wrestle the referee, and then he was dazed. So I'm not sure, but when I spoke to him, he seemed pretty compos mentis. He was like, I don't know what happened. You know what? It's my fault as much as it is his fault. This is like, we shouldn't be looking to persecute him.
For sure.
If he's taking the knee. It was an illegal move. So
Fair enough, and that's probably the correct attitude as well. Is this a fight you want to see rebooked? What do you want now? Do you have to take some time off? Because obviously, like you said, you got in the best shape if you want. What's the next move? If you can even think about that right now.
yeah, looking forward, I would love to rematch that, because that first round is one of my, like, thinking about it, how well I was moving, slipping shots, landing nice kicks, landing some heavy hands on his face. I'd love to run that back, but you got to see what the UFC says. You know, I'm also coming to that was the last fight in my contract, so who knows what's going to happen within the next 6 months of my career. Like, you never know. But for me right now, I would fight any light heavyweight the UFC offers.
And just one from outside tonight, did you think about maybe getting some money from Venom for proving how hard their tops are to rip?
That was 20 fights I've had in the UFC, and I think I've at least ripped 15 t-shirts. That is the first time in my 20 fights that a t-shirt has just stretched, and I was like, oh my God. And if you look at my face, I'm so intense. I'm like, and I get my arms at full extension, and I'm like, this sucker ain't ripping. And like the back of my neck's all ripped for the t-shirt.
You went for it twice as well, and you tried to get on the
and
scale.
then I was like, I'm in. So this fight card for me, or this fight, when you think about it, the first fight 4 weeks ago was cancelled due to herpes. First time ever. First time I've not been able to rip a t-shirt, and first time I've upkicked somebody and had a no contest.
Yeah. Commiserations on that, man.
Thank
But,
you.
you know,
We
not
move forward.
It's not a loss.
Yep. Thank you. Well, good.
I know it's kind of hard to think about because the future is uncertain, but you mentioned it's the last fight on your contract.
Yep.
Should the UFC not re-sign? Like, are you? Some fighters say, "Oh, if I don't fight for the UFC, you know, I'm hanging them up." Regardless of whatever happens, do you want to continue fighting?
That's probably a conversation to have whenever the UFC. Because for me, my goal was to get to the UFC and be a UFC fighter. I've did that. So it would need to be the best or nothing for me. Like, the UFC is the pinnacle. Anybody that ever steps in the octagon wants to get to the UFC, and anybody else isn't great enough to be. fighting for, to take damage, unless you're getting paid a hell of a lot of money or getting your face caved in for wee bare knuckles. So, but for me, it's UFC or bust at the moment.
Yeah. And this was obviously your light heavyweight return. We're done with middleweight?
Never say never. If the opportunity's there, for me right now, it's about exciting fights, and the move back up to light heavyweight was one of these kind of things. Like, I'm 37, I believe, 3 or 4 fights, and I could get in that mix again, in that top 5. I'm the only person to have a victory over the champ currently. Like, right, it was his very first fight, but he's still the same guy, and he's still never been beat apart from myself. You put me in the octagon with that guy again, and I'll do the exact same thing again. I'll wrap that triangle up and I'll finish him.
Well, looking forward to what's next.
Thanks so much. All good? Oh.
One more. Paul, walking into this fight, knowing that this was the last fight on your contract, how do you manage those emotions and expectations as you go in?
I think, see, if you put a bit of onus on it being the last fight and having all these milestones, I think you'll worry about it too much. So I was going in there, and as you see me in my walkout, my last 2 fights has been the most loose I've ever been in a fight, and it transpires into the fight. When I feel loose walking out and I hear that music, it goes into my soul, and I get to dance and I get to move so much better rather than getting in with this sort of stern walk. So I think going in thinking about, I need to get a victory here, I need to get a sub, I need to get a knockout to get a new contract, I think it's all the wrong way to look at this. If the UFC want me to fight, the UFC want me to fight. If they don't, then I'll deal with that. And
if this is the last time, what are you most proud of?
You know, getting victories over guys like Jamal Hill, that break of the arm, getting the victory over Ankalaev, beating Shogun Hua after the rematch, up kick to Bellato's face. You know, these are all milestones for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.